Capcom has gave all of us fans so much hope when it comes to the future of their games. They have revealed that they are willing to bring back older IPs. And with the recent announcement of Omnimusha and Okami 2, it has sparked so many topics on what could possibly come back in the future and what should come back. A lot of people, of course, saying Dino Crisis. I believe Beautiful Joe should come back. Lost Planet. I would love to see those series come back. But one day I was scrolling on social media and I seen a couple people talking about this specific game. And I thought I was the only one that wanted to see this game back because it just didn't get a fair shake back in the day, and I hate that it's so underappreciated because nobody really knows the game even exists. Now, y'all seen the thumbnail. The game I am referring to is Haunting Ground. Haunting Ground was a game I feel like was sort of ahead of its time. But unfortunately, it suffered from the greatness of Resident Evil 4. Before we got the final version of the game we all know and love, Resident Evil 4 actually went through development hell for about 6 years. There were so many different versions of the game. And the only versions we ended up seeing was the castle version where Leon is fighting these viruses in the castle. And then there was the Hookman version, which was a psychological type of game where you got this ghost Hookman constantly stalking Leon. It was probably the most psychological horror game I've ever seen. Although they did not make the cut for the final Resident Evil game that we all know and love, Capcom ended up using those assets that weren't used, and one of the versions became Devil May Cry 1. Luckily, Devil May Cry wasn't the only game that ended up benefiting from those used assets. The other game that benefited from those assets was Haunting Ground. Now, if you don't know what Haunting Ground is, it is stalker horror at its peak. A lot of you newcomers to Capcom games probably believe Resident Evil 2 is like the first stalker horror game that Capcom has done, and that is not the case because back then Capcom actually worked on quite a few stalker horror games. You had Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, you had Clock Tower 3, and then you had Haunting Ground. Stalker horror is one of Capcom's specialty, which is why it was always strange to me that they kind of shifted away from stalker horror at one point, and you know, they dove into a lot more action, which makes sense because they did have success for the most part with that genre. But ever since Resident Evil 7 was introduced, the Baker family being legit stalkers in that game, I always hated the fact that they never brought back Haunting Ground, because Haunting Ground was such an amazing stalker horror game. Now, like I said earlier, nobody really got to play this game because Resident Evil 4 completely took the shine away from it. Both these games dropped in 2005. If you were gaming back then, you know how monumental Resident Evil 4 was. Everywhere you look, Resident Evil 4 was on TV and magazines. It was all over the place. It was a generational game. When you drop something like Haunting Ground, which has no prior history to anything, against a game like RE4, of course it's not going to do good. The sales were not good whatsoever. That definitely factored into the game having limited physical copies. One day, I had seen a video on YouTube that introduced me to Haunting Ground, and I was like, I want to play this game. I'm mad I missed out on it. I never heard of it. I went on Google, tried to find a physical copy. First website I clicked on, this game physically to this day runs easily about $350 to $500. I said fuck that. I closed my laptop and I went to sleep. $500 for a PlayStation 2 game is diabolical. So I did the next best thing and I ended up emulating it. And boy, when I tell you, I ended up falling in love with Haunting Ground. It is definitely a special game that has some features that were just so ahead of its time. I would love to see Haunting Ground get a remake. And if not a remake, I would love to see it get that Dead Rising treatment, deluxe remaster type of situation, because it would definitely benefit being played by a modern crowd. In Haunting Ground, you play as a female character named Fiona, and she has a dog companion. This companion is... The dog is so key in this game. You're getting stalked by all these different stalkers. I believe there's like 5 to 6 different stalkers in this game. Huey, the dog name is Huey. Huey, you can send Huey to go distract the enemies by biting them so you can get away. You can use Huey to go pick up certain items. It was a very unique type of gameplay at the time. Haunting Ground definitely has that old Capcom playstyle to it. You know, you're going to be solving puzzles. Some of them are going to be challenging. A lot of them are outdated. I will keep it real. So if it was to happen, if a remaster or remake was to happen, they definitely would have to update how the puzzles work. But you're solving puzzles while trying to hide and get past these stalkers. That is basically the whole entire game. That is the game in a nutshell. Now, that probably won't sound excited to a lot of people, but when you play it, it's actually fun. What I really loved about Haunting Ground is the fact that you cannot fight back. I know a lot of people hate those type of games. Like, a lot of people are not fans of Outlast because you can't fight back. You have to hide, run and hide. But that is kind of what Haunting Ground is. You cannot fight these enemies. Again, like I said, you have to use Huey to basically like to attack the enemy. Not no severe damage or anything, just enough for you to get away. Definitely true survival horror. If Fiona gets hit or she gets startled by the enemy, she starts to have this panic attack and she's falling all over the place, which I know is annoying to some players, but it's a feature you do not see in horror games nowadays. You don't see the main character really in true fear of what's coming at her or him. Now, with me saying all of this, you would think this would be a no-brainer for Capcom to bring back in the modern era, but there is a catch to this game. This game is extremely controversial due to its themes, and I don't know how people will feel about it in this day and age. You got to look at it. There's a lot of soft-ass people in this day and age. A lot of groups get offended easily. People always want to push certain agendas. People want to get mad at any little thing. It is not the era that we grew up in back in the day. A lot of us grew up on Family Guy, South Park. We don't get offended by anything. It's just not the case anymore. The reason why the story is so controversial, I'm not going to spoil anything for the people that want to go and play it, but basically the theme of the story is objectification towards women. So me saying that, you basically can see the issue. Now, years prior, I wouldn't even say Capcom would probably trip off the possibility of that happening, but after the recent release of the deluxe remaster of Dead Rising, they certainly care about controversy because they changed up quite a few things in Dead Rising which did not rub the fans of that game the right way. A lot of people were very pissed off about the changes that they made. They definitely have shown they are willing to change stuff because of controversy, and that's not gonna go well with this game if that was to happen. If they bring this game back in a remaster or a remake, they cannot change anything about the game. The story has to stay the same. The outfits of Fiona have to stay the same. Because everything, much like Silent Hill, every little thing means a lot to the story. Something as simple as Fiona's outfit tells so much about the story. So if Capcom was to change anything, even the simplest things, it would take away from the story significantly. I'm pretty sure people that have played this game do not want them to rewrite the story. It would take away from its charm. So if we were to get Haunting Ground in this day and age, it would have to be with no censorship, and I don't know if Capcom is willing to go that route. Me personally, I would tell them who gives a F. But it's a business, and I understand it. Personally, I don't care about the controversy. I don't care about a bunch of losers that just want to be mad about any little thing getting upset over this story. That was the beauty of this game, the storytelling. This is one of the few Capcom games that has very good storytelling. It's not goofy, it's not very cliche. It's a very serious story with a lot of good twists and turns involved in it. Can y'all imagine in this day and age when you're getting stalked by Daniela, and Daniela is one of the stalkers in the game. She's my personal favorite stalker. Her story is so freaking sad and tragic. She is scary as all hell. Can you imagine running from Daniela with better controls, with theme music going crazy, because her theme music is so damn good, but it's absolutely terrifying at the same time, trying to hide from her. Another thing I really loved about Haunting Ground is because the AI of the stalkers were so intelligent. Daniela's stalker was so unique because the places you would hide, like a closet or something, she would hide in there to get the drop on you, and it would be absolutely terrifying. You really weren't safe from her. So I really want to see Haunting Ground make a return and get a fair shake like it deserves. It is one of the better horror games in the mid-2000s. It is such a good game. If you haven't played it, emulate it, go play it. Do whatever you have to do to play it. I would not tell you to go spend $500 on the PlayStation 2 game. I'm never going to do that. If I ever told y'all that, y'all can tell me go F myself, I would not be mad. But this is definitely a game that should be played. The replayability factor was there. It had a lot of cool costumes and everything. There was a lot of good in this game. There's a lot of outdated stuff as well, but it is a game that should be played by all horror fans. So again, I hope some of y'all feel the same. Make some noise with me, because I definitely will be commenting on Capcom stuff. I definitely will be making videos trying to get Capcom's attention when it comes to Haunting Ground. And Capcom has proven they are a development team that if you sit there and let it be known that you want something, they will listen. So hopefully y'all feel the same as me, and we'll let them know Haunting Ground needs to be in the modern era. It definitely does. This is one of the reasons why I love remasters and remakes. A game like Haunting Ground could definitely benefit from either situation. Look at Lollipop Chainsaw. I don't know if y'all played that, but Lollipop Chainsaw was a PS3 game that went completely under the radar. It had a cult following, much like Haunting Ground, but it didn't sell well back in the day. They made a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw, double or triple than what the original was. It was more appreciated by modern gamers. So the same could happen with Haunting Ground. And Lollipop Chainsaw was a controversial game as well. That company did not censor. So I do not see any reason Haunting Ground needs to be censored in any way possible. I don't care that the theme of the story is very controversial. That's what made the story beautiful. So y'all let me know how y'all feel. Do y'all want to see Haunting Ground back? Have y'all even played or heard of Haunting Ground? You really missed out on something special. And don't get me wrong, I missed out on it as well. That's why I went and played the game. I had to see what was up. So Capcom, if you ever come across this video, please bring this game back. We need it back. We definitely need this back. But y'all let me know how y'all feel. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you guys so much. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Get this video in the algorithm. I appreciate y'all greatly. Thank you for all the love and support, the comments, everything. It does not go unnoticed. I try to get back to all of y'all. Catch you guys on the next video. Be safe in these gaming streets. Peace out.
Essence of life, of woman.